All right. So we've got all of our closing wheels mounted into place. Now what we need to do is we need to take this outside, unfold it, and figure out where we're going to put this pump assembly. I thought that it would originally go on the wing, but I've got to have spots for the gauges and the little sight balls and whatever to go on the wings. Then I was looking at the front of the hitch here, right in front of this fertilizer tank that's on there. There's really not enough room in front of that to mount it right on the center part of the hitch. I can't mount it here because this all slides forward. And then that hitch comes all the way up to right here. I thought maybe I could mount it right here, but that ain't gonna work because it's too wide, and then the U-bolts are probably gonna be getting caught down in here. So we're going to have to see where we can set this outside of Colin Schaefer to see where they have mounted it on these planters. I suppose we might have a spot in the back, right in this area, but I'm just thinking out loud. Another spot would be maybe right here, but it's 3 foot tall, so that ain't gonna work there. So we're going to have to figure some things out here so that we can get that guy mounted on there. Alright, so we had to pull this outside in order to unfold it. And from what they're telling me, they have this apparatus here designed to actually bolt right up right here. However, they want, well, I only got room to set it back here with the way the U-bolts are gonna work. So I don't know how we're gonna make that work. I thought about cutting this all down because it's about 10 inches too high, and we can gain 10 inches there, and then we can gain another 4 or 5 here by just cutting that down to size. So that's the thought process there. However, our U-bolts fit this side of the beam, but they don't fit this part. We can slide this tank back about 3 inches, but that is about it. So we could gain a little bit by doing that. Well, the other thing we could do is mount it. We could mount it in underneath too. So I don't know how much I have here, which that is not a bad option. Just mount it underneath here. I only got 15 inches though, so I need to be, well, that's about 15 inches. So that's probably where we're going to end up mounting it, is right here, right underneath this thing. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take this in on the bench, somewhat disassemble it, cut it down to size, and figure on getting it mounted. Probably the best spot is going to be right underneath the other tank. So yeah. Alright, so we have our pump assembly just the way we got it from Schaefer. It was set up just like that. And what they had figured on doing is they had figured on mounting it, well, Can't quite see it from here. Yeah, you can. I just need to walk back here. What they figured on doing was mounting it right here. However, we've got a lot of stuff on the front of this tank. I could move this tank back, but I can only move it back 3 inches. So I don't have the room I need right here to mount that pump assembly right there. However, what I do have is enough room to put it down in under the tank right in this area. Now when I called them, I said, what do you have for ideas here as far as where to put it? And that's what they told me, that's where it goes. And then they said, well, we really don't have any other information than that on where to put it on these planters. We should have our other 16 row over here, and there's probably a nice amount of room right there. But being that this is, well, it's not it's new, but everything is kind of built the same way they've been building them for quite a while here, but they had no information. Well, I guess they're going to have some now because we're kind of sharing this with everybody here. So what we're going to do is we're going to unbolt this pedestal, this lower pedestal from this upper pedestal. We're going to knock off, I don't know, 10 or 11 inches there, get this shrunk down, and we're going to see how well that fits in. I've got 18 inches right here and about 15 right there. This stands about 16 inches tall from here to here. So we might have to take one of these pumps, this pump here off, mount it on this side, and then just change these Ys around. We're probably going to have to get another sticker from them because we're probably going to be distorting or disrupting this one. Maybe not. Maybe we'll be cutting just above it. We got to keep their name on there though so that we can make sure that everybody knows that we've got a Schaefer system on there. So we'll go ahead and get this apart. I want to see, once I get this off and cut, how this will fit with it cut here and just this setting in there. And if that works, then we can just kind of marry this back together and bolt it into place. But just a little modification is all. It would be nice if everything kind of bolted right into place, but they make these units for every manufacturer of corn planters, and I guess they don't get to see every planter every time one is built. So we're going to show it to them now though. All right, we've got this cut down as short as we can get it, with leaving everything mounted on it the way it is. So what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna see if we can set that down in there and see what it looks like. We know what kind of a measurement we've got, but I wanna see what it physically looks like when it's in there, just the way it is here now. So we're probably gonna have to take some of this stuff off in order to get this mounted onto that. Let's take the stuff off, drill holes in it, and then put it back together, of course. All right, so it looks as though we're probably going to be able to get that to go in there. However, I can't get it to go in with it folded up. What I did is I laid it down, I put it in there, and then I tried to stand it up. What I need to do is unfold this planter and then take it in from the side and just slide it in like that. I think it'll go right in there. So we'll get this unfolded some. I think we can do everything right inside the shop here. We'll pull that out, unfold the planter a little bit, crawl in there, see if we can't set that into place. It looks as though the motors are probably gonna set right in this void between the metal bracket and the plastic tank, and we can keep that mounted, then just cut that metal down a little bit and behind the motor, and maybe again a little bit in the front. And I think we can cobble this right in there with leaving everything mounted on it the way it is. And then we'll pull it back out and get the unit setting onto here, and probably just weld it instead of bolting it. We'll just weld it, throw some paint on it, and then shove it in there. All right, so that's not going to work, mounting it in there vertically. So I heard all you guys, all the experts were screaming at me, and I didn't hear it till just after I pulled it out from underneath there for the second time, because I cut off a little more at the top. I heard the experts tell me, lay it down, run it horizontal. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have to do a little trimming here, and then we're just gonna take and set it right on top of this bracket horizontally, something just like that. So we're gonna give some more of the experts a chance to make some more comments on what other changes I need to make, and they can go ahead and type that in here now. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna leave them alone. That's a little hint right there. But we'll see if they can come up with the next step as to what needs to be changed on this once we run it horizontally. So that's what we'll do. We'll have to take some of that stuff apart, and we need to cut a couple of holes in this to match what there is on that bracket for when it is mounted on top. So we'll go ahead and get it all apart. All right, so here is what we have for our modification. If you recall, this guy was vertical. It was about this tall. We took it all apart. This leg assembly here was quite a bit taller, and this was made to be mounted right on the front of the hitch. So we have cut this down. We're still going to use this to mount to the hitch. However, we have removed the pumps and the filters. We had pumps on one side, filters on the other. We have removed them because we need to drill new holes. And what we're going to do is we're going to set this on top, something like that. This leg here will be, of course, on the other side. I don't know where exactly we're going to weld it. We're not going to bolt it. We're just going to weld it into place. We're going to do a mock-up. We're going to put our pumps back on there, see how they fit. And that's going to determine where exactly we're going to mount this on here. I don't know if I'm going to mount it centered or if I'm going to be slightly off from center. But at any rate, that's what we've come up with. We're only gonna stand about 10, 11 inches tall, and that's gonna fit right in underneath the tank. We're gonna have to turn our filter assemblies. The wizards at home missed that one. They didn't even see what I was talking about. But these filters want to more or less be vertical. So they were mounted like this. That would be horizontal, so we're just going to turn them is all. And then we'll mount them right back to this plate. The motors don't matter, or the pump. So the pumps, that doesn't matter which orientation they're mounted in. But I do need to torch a hole in here so we can run our wire across, and we're gonna have to do another one there. So we'll get things marked up, set up, and put into place, and then once we get this figured out to where and how it's gonna go, we'll weld it, put a little paint on it, we'll let that dry, and then we'll get it put back into place. All right, so this is what we have come up with. We shortened this up a little bit. Obviously, we cut the bottom off. We laid it down horizontally. We had to change things around here a little bit. But we've got everything plumbed back up the way it's supposed to be. So the product will come in this 50 micron filter. Come in through here, enter the pumps, go out the pumps, go back through this 80 micron, and then this will go over to our manifolds that will individually go to each row. So we'll go ahead and we'll set this in underneath the 2x2 tank, get that clamped down, and then we'll close the planter up, and we've got to figure out how we're going to put our manifold assembly on here. We got something big pulling in here. There's a big loader right there. So that is how and where we are going to mount that right in underneath this tank. Now you see we had a loader pull in. We'll go up back now and we'll kind of talk about that for a second. Then we're going to come back down here, and what I need to do is I need to close this corn planter up. And I need to make sure my measurements were correct. We want to make sure we don't crowd that too much. I don't think we are, but we're going to have to double check ourselves there. And then we've got to figure out where to put those manifolds. So why don't we go up and look at that loader that you guys took a glimpse of right when it was pulling up outside here. All right, so you guys seen this pull in. I made a, I don't know, Facebook post and Instagram post saying that we bought this to mix feed with. Well, I was just kidding. They are actually just parking this trailer here for the night. They ended up blowing a couple of tires on this side on the back two axles. So rather than get anybody out here tonight to change them, they thought they would just park it here for the night and get these guys fixed in the morning. That one's blown, and this outside one is blown. But this is an old 988 Cat, 988G. It runs a little rough, but it does run. I think it needs a lift pump, or they're thinking it needs a lift pump. But they did have to start it up to lift the bucket up off of the tongue there. But that's a lot of iron right there. We actually would not be able to mix feed with anything like this, because what it would do is it would break our concrete up. Our concrete's not heavy enough, or it's not thick enough to absorb the weight per square inch that those tires are going to put on the concrete. Guys have tried large loaders before, mix and feed, and they've broke their concrete. And anybody that does have a large loader, they've got concrete that's 10, 12 inches thick. Ours is only 6, so I can't imagine what that thing weighs. But I think they said they grossed 160 some thousand, truck and trailer and all. I don't know what size bucket that is. Probably maybe 10 yard. We got 7 on our loader, but that one's wider, I think. So 8, 9, 10 yard anyway. So that's the story behind this. No, we did not buy it. I was just kidding around. We do that from time to time. So back down working on this corn planter. Well, as you can see, we have this folded up, and this fits in there very nicely. So, with that being said, that is going to do it for this video. We're going to have to figure out where we can mount our manifolds. I've got to think about that for a little bit. The bracket that they give us is not going to work. However, I might be able to just weld a bracket right across that frame on this tank. I like it on my right side because I'm predominantly looking out the right hand side of the tractor, just the way you sit in a tractor. And we'll probably just put that manifold up right there underneath that tank mount. What they give you is this guy here, and this is meant to U-bolt to the frame, to the toolbar, and then you put your manifolds, stack them on top of that. But as you can see, there's not a lot of room in underneath there. However, if I put these side by side, I'd probably have enough room to put them right in there side by side. So we are 16 inches. I don't think we have 16 inches there. Can't remember what that measurement was. But we can stack them too. So, come on. Yeah, that would work. It's 40 inches across there. So I think that's what we'll do. We'll just make a bracket to go up. Oh, you guys will have to wait and see, I guess. So that's gonna do it, folks. Take it easy, and we will catch you at the next one.